Good morning, class. This is Mrs. Stonecipher. We are going to create a resume today using Microsoft Word. So let's get started. In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll click the Start button. Go to All Programs. Scroll down until you see the Microsoft Office folder. Click once. And you'll notice lots of different Office products that are offered. Microsoft Word 2010 is what you want, so scroll down to the bottom of the list, click once, and you will have pulled up a new document for Microsoft Word. However, today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of creating a document completely from scratch, we are going to use a template. So, to use a template, you're going to use the File tab and click on New. Now, notice that blank document is there, a blog post, recent templates, sample templates, my templates, new from existing, and then you've got your office.com templates. We're actually going to use one of the office.com templates, and today, obviously, we are creating a resume, so we're going to scroll down until we find the heading for Resumes and CVs. Double click there, and Office is going to search the web. Now we do need to let it know what type of resume that we're looking to recover as a template. There are three options here: basic resumes, job-specific resumes, and situation-specific resumes. Because right now you are in high school, you've probably never had a job before, or if you do, you're probably in that very first job. So we just want something basic. Double click on basic resume. Now, notice there are lots of different options here. Alright, so I just want to take you through a few of these, give you a good idea for maybe what we should choose. And of course, depending on if you have a job right now or if you don't, or maybe you're just writing this resume for the purpose of receiving a scholarship, then you may be looking for a different type of resume. So let's take a look. Chronological resume is great if you've had a couple of different jobs. If you notice on the right hand side, you have a preview section, and you would list your name, and above your name it looks like they want you to put your address, city, state, and zip, including your email address and phone number, the objective, what it is that you are interested in accomplishing as a career. Maybe you work well in teams. What are you skilled in? That's a great place to put that information is in your objective. My objective, for instance, was to be a teacher, and specifically a career and technical educator. So in my objective, it's simply just stated career and technical educator. However, more recent changes have been taking place and objectives have been changing. So we're going to take a look at an objective online later today. Now, with a chronological resume, this is your traditional resume that a lot of individuals use. However, it does require that you've had some experience doing some type of job. Chronological resume lists those jobs. Then it includes your education experience along with references. Whether you list them or not, it's always great to have references are available upon request at the bottom of all of your resumes. Then we've also got a functional resume. A functional resume tries to convey to the employer, let them know what professional positions you have held, along with any professional accomplishments. Now, we're not quite there yet. We're not ready, okay? So we're just going to keep going and keep looking. There's a photo resume. This would be great for a web page, but I'm not so sure that I can encourage you to use this one to actually go on a job. A lot of your employers are still old-fashioned, and they like a little bit more detail than what a photo resume has to offer. The Oriole theme resume is also available. Again, it depends on where you're applying for a job. but the pretty orange stuff down the right hand side of the page with the cute little dot in the bottom right hand corner, not so sure that would give the right impression. Alright? Then you've also got a, skipping on down, chronological resume with a vertical design. And next we have a college graduate functional resume. This is where you've actually had a chance to do a little bit of research in the career that you're interested in. So let's keep going. Functional resume. This is a traditional design again. It looks exactly like the one that we saw above. And more of a modern design. Same idea, just a different look. And scrolling on down, there is an entry-level resume. I really like this resume as it is for entry level or beginning employment. But I want you to make sure you look at this to the fullest. So we're going to pick a few more to take a look at. Resume essential design. It is just that. It is very basic and very essential. It only highlights, obviously, your name and your contact information. Again, the objective is very important here. Your education, where are you enrolled in school right now? Now, for those of you who are in our dual enrollment program, that is great to list our partnership with Northwest Shoals Community College or the University of North Alabama. Experience, for those of you who've had that first job, make sure you put that down there. And skills, for all of us here at the Career Tech Center, we have some form of occupational skills, and you need to list those there. Also, if you have a certification specifically in Microsoft Office Specialist or Microsoft Technology Associate, be sure you list that here. For those of you who are also enrolled in other programs, you may have completed the OSHA 10 training along with forklift certification. So don't forget those certifications as well. We also have, there's another functional resume. And here's another entry-level resume, but notice it's different. It's not necessarily a resume, it's a reference sheet. This document is a wonderful thing to add to the back of a resume because if you don't list out who your references are and this employer is interested in having you back again, then you don't have to say, I'll have to get back with you. I don't have that list right with me. Make sure you come prepared to any and all interviews. And having this document on hand is great. It shows them that you are ready for anything that they throw at you. Now, I want to point out something. If you didn't see a template here that you really like, there is another option. You can search office.com for additional templates. So, high school resume. That didn't pull anything back. So, let's try this one. High school student resume. Didn't pull anything up. Now, we're looking for a basic student resume. That did pull some things up. However, it did pull up the college graduate functional resume. But that's not really what we need. So, I went back and I just typed in resume. Now, notice that in my search, these were not listed earlier. There's actually a teacher resume, military to private sector resume, law firm accounting clerk resume, helicopter pilot resume, plumber resume, social worker resume. There are a lot of different resumes on here. Retail sales associate. Now, some of you are probably interested in going over to Dillard's if you are at least 18 or older and applying to work there during Christmas time, as they do employ extra help during seasonal times. There's a computer programmer resume for those of you in my IT classes. Now, looking back, I'm going back to basic resume. Do you remember the entry level resume that I told you I really liked? Um, I would like to try to pull that one back up if at all possible. Looks like we've got a lot of cover letters here. So, okay, now we're back where we started. So, to open the template, you're going to double click, or you can click the download button below the preview for entry level resume. And there we go. Now, all we're going to do essentially is just fill in the requested information. All right. And notice the first thing you're going to do, double click on name. Okay. Now, it's asking for our street address, city, state, and zip code. So I'm just going to make one up for the sake of class purposes. 123 Main Street, Tuscumbia, Alabama 35674. Telephone number, email address, and depending on if you are affiliated with a company or an organization, or if you have your own website, that's a great place to put that. If you don't, that's okay. You'll just hit the backspace after you click on it once. Now, if you have additional information that you would like to add, then feel free to do so here. If you have a second phone number, maybe if you put your home phone number at the top, you may want to include your cell phone number down at the bottom. But for our class purposes, I'm going to move on. Now, there's a section, notice, for education. Obviously, we are not going to have quite as much on ours as they have on theirs on this template. So what you're going to do is you're going to click, drag, and highlight the number of schools that you wish to delete. Now, I do encourage that you keep one section of the school's information so you'll know what to put there. And you're going to hit the backspace button on your keyboard. The delete cells box will pop up, and it's going to say, do you want to shift these cells to the left? Say OK. Now, looks like we've got a couple extra spaces here, so I'm going to do the same thing again to minimize the white space on the page. And notice that if you keep scrolling down, this could be as short or long as you want it. However, most of the employers that I work with, since I am the co-op coordinator here at the school, most of my employers that I work with encourage me to encourage you all to be sure and not have it any longer than a page. A lot of the employers go through hundreds of applications at any given time, so they want to make sure that they get the right person. But with that being said, it takes a long time to read a 2 or 3 page resume. So, please make sure that you do keep it to a minimum. Now, let's scroll back up to the top. Your education. We're going to change our education to our home high school. And the degree we are seeking is a general high school diploma. Now, I don't know about you, but I love career tech, I always have. I enjoyed it while I was in school myself. And now we offer at Muscle Shoals Center for Technology the opportunity for our students to receive a career and technical education endorsement. This is a seal that is placed on your high school diploma prior to graduation so that when you walk across the stage, your seal will confirm that you have taken 3 or more consecutive courses within a given program here at the Career Tech Center. Now, am I talking Greek to you? I hope not. So let me try to explain. This endorsement means that if you have had Miss Tidwell, for example, who is our cosmetology instructor for Intro to Cosmetology, Spa, and Nails, or another one of her advanced cosmetology classes, and you've had them in the same pathway for cosmetology, then that would mean that you are a completer. Now, if you've only had Miss Tidwell for 2 classes, an introductory class and one additional class in cosmetology, that means that you are considered a concentrator. You can become a completer and receive the seal on your diploma if you would so choose by taking a third career and technical education course in her sequence. Now, if this still sounds awkward, see me after class, and either myself or our career technical education guidance counselor, Mrs. Crosswhite, will be happy to discuss this with you in more detail. But for time's sake, I'm going to stop that conversation now. And if there is any type of endorsement or any extra something that you're going to get on graduation day and you are already aware of that, then you are welcome to include that here in under general high school diploma. Now, it's asking for when did you graduate? Well, you probably started high school in 2000, let's see, this is 13, so 2010. Most of you were freshmen at that time. And plan to graduate in 2014. Okay? A lot of people would list 2010 to 2014. However, below career and technical education endorsement, or if you chose not to do that and deleted it, that's okay too. But in the last section, you want to make sure when an employer sees this that they know when you plan to graduate. So, I included expected to graduate May 2014 below the career and technical education endorsement. Now, the next section is awards. And this is great. If you have awards or honors, achievements, this is a great place to put that. All right. Now, obviously, you guys aren't teachers, so you're not going to have teaching experience per se, but you may have volunteer experience. And our community service project this year is to help the Colbert County Animal Shelter. So I hope that you guys are participating in that, especially if you're my skills members. Okay. Um, so where it says Walnut Grove University, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, I'm just going to put Colbert County Animal Shelter. And I've been helping the animal shelter now for a little over a year. So I'm just going to put 2012-present. present, just to let whoever's reading this know that I'm still actively involved with the animal shelter. Okay? Um, you may participate in other possible volunteer experiences. My experience is with Junior League of the Shoals. I'm their webmaster. I started this in 2012, and I will continue this until approximately 2015. I also handle the web store. And obviously, this is what we do as a league to raise money for nonprofit organizations in the Shoals area. So I feel like my ability to give back and contribute to our local economy is very important. I encourage you guys, if you're ever given the opportunity, to please feel free to get involved with your community. It's extremely rewarding to be able to give back to our community. Um, Next thing I want us to work on is the related experience section. Now, you can delete that related word. Let's delete that, or let's just delete the whole thing. If you have work experience, this would be a fantastic place to list that. So, maybe some of you work at Subway in Muscle Shoals, and maybe you've been there since last year, and you're still there. If you're still working there, you put to present. If you just quit last week, you might put 2012 to 2013. Um, Most of the jobs that I have seen at Subway are cashier positions, as well as just a general overall crew member, like lots of your fast food restaurants. You're responsible for not only janitorial duties and services, but you are also responsible for making tea, making sure that everything is neat and orderly, but also making those sandwiches, fixing to go orders, talking on the phone, working with the public. These are all things that we have to someday know how to do. I think it's fantastic for those of you who are already getting this work experience in. Kudos to you. If you've worked more than one job, okay, that's great, but we want to list it. However, we want to start with your most recent experience at the top, going down to your oldest experience, or the one that's not quite as new. So, say you worked at McDonald's and Burger King prior to coming to Subway. Well, whichever job that you worked first, maybe is your very first job. Say we worked at McDonald's first. We would list it at the bottom. And then we would list Burger King, and above that would be Subway. Now, it's always a good idea to list your position that you have held below the company name. And for each of these positions, it is equally important to put the length of time that you worked there. Okay? Now, we're almost done, I promise. I want to make sure, though, that you guys have everything that you could possibly need. So I'm going to go in and I'm going down to this second page, and I'm deleting the top section above languages. Alright. And I'm also going to go in and delete a few of the cells that we do not need. Now, does anybody speak a foreign language? Okay. I can speak some Spanish, but I am not fluent in it, so I'm not going to include that on my application because I would hate for someone to assume that I knew how to speak Spanish fluently when they saw that on my resume and that come as a disappointment to them later on to find out that I can't do that. I cannot be their translator. So, just food for thought. Keep that in mind. Um, Memberships. Now, who's a member of Skills USA in here? Fantastic. Okay. How about HOSA? Okay, so Rachel is the president and has been a member since 2010. All right, Rachel, so tell me about skills. How long have you been a member? Okay, so you just joined last year, but you did rejoin this year. Great. Okay. All right. Um, and okay. All right. So there are a couple of more people who are members in other clubs and organizations, and I think that is great. Student council, representative. I like seeing these leadership qualities in a lot of you. That's great. So, Adam, how long have you been a student council representative? 2011. Okay. Are you still a student council representative? Okay. Great. All right. Now, references are available upon request. So, let's make some changes here. Hopefully, we can get this down to, all right, one page as requested by my employers. Almost. Looks like we've got some extra space here that we need to take out. Alright, so let's delete some cells. Awesome. Okay. Alright, so does anybody see anything that we're missing here at the top? Yes, the objective. Alright, so I'm just going to highlight and use the keyboard to hit Control C to copy. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, hit the back button if you are following along with me. We need to go in and above here we need to insert a row above and we are going to call this objective. Alright, and we're going to go back to education, highlight that row, right click on top of it, insert row above. Alright, now what is our objective? Now let's go to the internet and I'm going to open up a new tab. And guys, let's just Google how to write an objective. Okay, now something I want you to take notice. There are a couple of different objectives that are out there, guys. There are objectives for curriculum in education. There are resume objectives. Well, obviously, that's what we want. Okay, jobsearch.about.com has some information out there for us, so let's just take a look at what it says. When writing a resume, some job seekers choose to state an objective on their resume rather than including it in the body of their cover letter. Stating an objective can convince employers that you know what you want to do and are familiar with the field. While stating your objective on your resume is optional, having an objective for your resume is not. You need to be clear about your employment goals. An alternative to using an objective on your resume is a resume profile, which is a brief summary of your skills, experiences, and goals written for a specific job opening. So, customize your resume objective. If you include an objective on your resume, it's important to customize the resume objective to match the position you are applying for. The more specific your resume objective, the better chance you have of being considered for the job. So, what's a sample resume objective? A sample one would be just like the one given here. Obtain a position at XYZ company where I can maximize my management skills, quality assurance, program development, and training experience. Account executive trainee at ABCD Advertising Agency. Position as clinical practice assistant for health maintenance organization utilizing writing, research, and leadership skills. Elementary education teacher at small independent school. And the list goes on and on. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to write this. If you want to take a look at some more resume writing tips or how to create a professional resume along with resume objectives, then there are several links here. So if you're interested, I'll be sure and put this on our Edmodo class account in the future so that you can always reference back to it. All right, so what is it that you would like to do for the rest of your life? I know that sounds kind of corny, but what is it that you are interested in? So you might like customer sales or service and web development, that's great. Being a nurse, doctor, okay, that's great. But specifically what kind? Are you sure yet? Okay, that's okay too. Alright, so if we chose this one to obtain a position that will enable me to use my strong organizational skills, educational background, and ability to work well with people, would you consider that to be a specific or generic objective? I would consider that absolutely. It is definitely a generic statement. It does not specifically say, I want to work for your specific company as and then a specific job title. It is just a generic, broad objective. So I encourage you to be specific as possible. I like the elementary education teacher at small independent school. Um, that's good, but not quite as specific as I would like to hear from some of you. So going back to our document, I'm going to hit Control C and copy the text for Muscle Shoals High School just simply for formatting purposes. That is all. I'm going to delete Muscle Shoals High School from the cell, and I'm going to begin writing my objective. Now, my objective is simply to obtain an IT educator position with Muscle Shoals City Schools. This is not going to be your objective. Your objective is going to be the career that you have researched these last several weeks of the semester and a possible or potential company that you could work for in this area. In order to complete the assignment, this is how you will complete your objective. I want you to be specific. I don't want you to give me a generic objective. So, let's get to work. Does anybody have any questions before you get started? Be sure to save this file in your class folder in your name as your first dot last name, Fall Resume 2013. Do I have any questions? All right, great. All right. I'm going to come around the room now and assist other students. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, work quietly. When you are finished, again, be sure and save your work, print your document, and place it in the turn-in box at the front of the room below the projection screen. Have a great day.